Hello guys and welcome back. Welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies.
Subscribe to Dylan's Little Hobbies right now.
Hello guys, welcome back. Welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies. And in today's video, today's a live stream. Haven't done a live stream in quite a while, especially with this guy. This guy literally, I think, just did his live stream. Just started live streaming the other day. We were both on Galactic Chat, and this guy totally lost.
No, I won. What are you talking about? I won that.
Yeah, no, this guy totally won. That's right. He totally won against Austin. My buddy, Sauerkraut.
Austin
Tell
was my
people where they
bitch
can
in
find
that
you.
stream.
Yeah. Tell people where they can find you, man.
What? Sorry. What did you say?
Oh, I said go ahead and tell people where they can find you at, bro.
Oh, all right. And if I cough and sound weird during the stream, I'm sick right now, so
That makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah. You guys can find me on my channel, Krause, which I haven't streamed in like a month now, so I should probably start that back up soon. I'm also on Twitter at waviusleaf and Instagram at sourkraus06. Also, I'm on Discord, sourkraus number 4433. And I'm also on Dylan's Little Hobbies channel, the Austin News channel, and Enjoy243's channel.
Yep. And before we do, what is up, David? It's nice to see you. You forgot the end there, bro. And of course, we got our buddy Nindroid in the chat. What is up, Nindroid? Nice to see you, bro. Alright, so in today's video, we are indeed going to be reviewing none other than Buy Eri, which is actually, I'm gonna be totally honest. This was all Sour's doing. Sour read this book. He's like, God, you gotta read it. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And I have had a mixed, I'm gonna say a mixed reaction to it, because the fact is, this is not, I'm gonna say it right out, this is not, I think, a book for everybody. I think everybody should read it, but I don't think this is actually a story that everybody should like. It's very, I would say, while I would love for everybody to read it, it's definitely one of those stories that it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I personally don't think that it's my cup of tea. And personally, this is a story that it's a 200 page chapter. It's a one-off story. And let me tell you, this is not something you can read like 10, 20 pages, put it down, and then read the rest. Because if you do that, you're going to have the same reaction I did when I first read it, that this is absolute garbage. It's only when you realize why it's absolute garbage that you realize, oh my god, it's actually insanely good. And it's creative and it's amazing. Art is so objective that really, when it comes to it, and that's the perfect way to explain Buy Eri to me, is the fact that this book, simply put, is art. Whether you like the art or not, that's highly debatable, which I'm sure Sauerkraut is not going to agree with me at all on this, which is perfectly fine. But I want you to know, even though I'm talking like I hate it, I actually ended up loving it. But it's definitely not something like I would personally go out and look for, unlike you. I guess that's just your thing. I'm more into the stuff like Orient, or My Hero Academia. Like this is really a totally different type of story that, I mean, it's really good when you end up realizing what the author was trying to do from the very beginning. And even though I actually do not know if this is the right word to use, Sour. So you might have a better word for me, but the word I get from this book, the best way to describe it is unease.
I mean, I can
Like
kind
I'm,
of see how, especially near the ending.
yeah, like it's just the subject matter and the way it's positioned and everything. Like actually, this is really interesting because while I don't want to get into spoilers just yet, we will be talking spoilers here in a second. You did mention something that's really interesting that I'm not gonna say you're wrong, but I interpreted different by the end of the book. You actually said it's supposed to be viewed from a camera lens, correct? Remember
Yeah,
that?
with how the
I
panels was filmed.
envision it completely different. In my interpretation, you're not supposed to view this as a camera lens. You are literally supposed to view this as one person. Like, literally, he puts you in the shoes of the character's trauma. And through that, like, granted, it's always interesting to relate to a character or something like that, but, like, none of us wants to be Naruto fighting. Well, maybe some of you do, but none of us wants to be Naruto having to deal with the fact that our parents are dead and that we have a demon soul inside of us.
Yeah.
Like, none of us wants to actually put up with that. So we're not, even though we read his story and everything, we read it as if we were from an outside source viewing an image. That's not the way this book is presented to us. We are literally presented as if we were viewing, as if we were the character of the story itself, and through that, it just makes you feel uneasy. I did not feel comfortable with it, and eventually, I put it down and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, dude, I gotta text Sour that this thing sucks. And then after I got done reading it, because he encouraged me to keep reading it, it's such. Well, when you realize that that's the whole point of what the reason why the book is drawn the way it is, the reason why it's told the way it is, and then at the end with that huge twist, you realize what the creator was actually trying to do, and you still kind of got like just your mind blown. It's really easy to say that this is in the absolute form. While I don't think it's my cup of tea, I will not deny that this is like art at its truest form, and the creator, who is actually the creator of what else they do? Remind me.
Well, this is actually what I actually wanted to go into the backstory of the series. So the
Yeah,
creator,
yeah,
the person who wrote this, is actually Tatsuki Fujimoto, who wrote other
yeah. It's
series like
complete art.
Chainsaw Man, Fire Punch, and a bunch of other one shots. This is his latest
Hmm.
work, which is really the only reason why I wanted to read it, because I love Fujimoto. He's one of my favorite authors of all time. And I was really excited for
And
this.
I
And I
love
loved his
Chainsaw
other
Man.
I loved Chainsaw Man. I loved Fire Punch, and I also really loved his one shot from last year called Look Back, which was amazing. And I've been really digging his recent one shots like Look Back and Goodbye Eri, which are more so focused on his personal feelings and his personal interests. Because Look Back was on was based on around his love for manga and art, while this series, Goodbye Eri, not series, but one shot, Goodbye Eri, is based around his love for film. Because if you've read any of his works, you know the dude's a huge film buff.
Yeah,
He
because
mentioned,
he's done quite a bit in Chainsaw Man alone.
yeah, and also Fire Punch. One of the
Mm,
characters' entire reason for what they were doing was so that they could watch a new Star Wars movie.
yeah.
I'm not even joking. Go read Fire
It's
Punch.
true.
But
Yeah.
speaking of Fire Punch, while reading
Maybe I'll read
this,
Fire Punch at some point.
I definitely recommend it. But um, speaking of Fire Punch, while reading Goodbye Eri, I couldn't help but feel like. Actually, no, I'll talk about this later on because this is kind of getting into spoilers. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
okay. Okay.
Goodbye Eri
So,
was
yeah.
definitely like a type of passion project for Fujimoto, like how Look
Yeah.
Back was, and his love for film and all that. And I just like, I've been really digging his recent one shots, like Goodbye Eri and Look Back, because I love how expressive his storytelling is. He's just so creative in how he
Mhm.
tells the stories too, and he,
Oh, especially this way. Like, oh god. I mean,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. Like, part of me wants to literally go over to him and hey, if he ever watches this, I absolutely love your work. Part of me wants to go up to him and yell "rule of thirds" in his ear because my god. But then when you realize that's the point. You're like, oh my god. I still want. It still makes me kind of mad they didn't use rule of thirds, just because. At the same time, I understand why he didn't. At now, you know, because it's
yeah,
supposed to make you feel uneasy. So I don't know if you guys. Well, you guys should know this. I mean, come on, we're all humans. But when you are talking to someone, you literally. What do you do? Do you like move your eye to someone every time you talk to someone so they're in rule of third? No, you literally turn to them and you're straight on. Whenever you're doing something, it's straight on from your vision. So because of that, because we get so used to that and so common to that, that rule of thirds, that's what draws our eye so much, because when it comes to rule of thirds, it's a different image. It's a different it's something is bigger, something is smaller, something is uh, different from what we should see it as, and because of that, it's interesting to our eyes, drawing our eyes to it. It makes it really interesting, and that's the biggest rule of any art, really, is to use rule of thirds. It's really important to use rule of thirds. But that's not saying that you shouldn't use rule of thirds at all, right? And
yeah,
because of his usage of not using it, plus the atmosphere of the story, it makes you feel uneasy to the whole throughout the whole story, and then you get to this one page where literally it goes on for like 3 pages, and I was almost like panicking. I'm like, did I miss something? Did I miss a page? What the heck? You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it just yet, but it literally went on for 3 pages, and I'm like,
yeah.
did I miss something? Did I miss a page? What the heck is going on? Did the story end there? What is going on? Like, it really makes you uneasy. It really kind of makes you not panic, but it's like, what the heck is going on? And then you get to the ending of the book, where the biggest reveal of it was made, and you're still like, okay, what the heck is going on here? That's the point of it. It was true art. It was true art. Not exactly my cup of tea, but it was art nonetheless. So I have to give him props for that. Your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I agree with you for the most part. Like, I know what part you're talking about, and that part like made me confused. So I was like, wait a minute. I'd even go back to the other pages, like, then check the page. I was like, okay, so it's like halfway done or almost done. then next
Honestly,
time we
it's
got
really weird because literally it's the best for me. You can disagree, but it's literally the best part of the book. And it's really funny because out of context, if someone says this is the best art I've ever seen and someone saw that page,
they'd be like, bro, what?
I know, right? Why the heck is this the best part of the book? uh, No one will know unless you actually read it. Okay, so with that said, guys, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. That's not spoilers. Is there anything else you wanted to say that's not spoilers before I give our scores for this?
Not really. Apart from well, just from these short 200 pages. I mean, it wasn't really too short. If you take your time, I'd say it takes
No,
around
it's
40
no,
minutes, somewhere around
yeah,
there, to read it all. But like just from these 200 pages alone, and like there's probably never ever going to be a continuation. Obviously, I hope there isn't because that'd be stupid. But
no, that would be
since it's just a
ridiculous.
one shot, but
It's
just from
ridiculous.
these 200 pages alone, like you could see how excellent Fujimoto writes his characters. All of them, all the major ones, got some sort of development throughout the story. We learn more about them, and the twists. Even there's this one specific twist near around the middle of it. If
I
you
know what
know,
you're talking
I
about.
think
Yeah,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That made me actually look super duper shocked. I was not suspecting that. I was like, what the hell? Then as it kept going
yeah.
on, it actually fit into the theme of the entire
It really did. It
story.
fit
I was like,
into
oh
the
my god!
entire theme of the story. It
And
really did.
the
It
way
was a
Fujimoto
game
writes is
changer for
beautiful.
sure.
The
Yeah,
way
and
Fujimoto writes is magnificent. I love his work. I cannot
yeah,
wait for Prince Man Part 2 and anything else he does in the future because,
yeah.
oh my god.
And I mean, you might disagree with me on here, Sour. In fact, personally, I would like to see this animated. I think it's interesting enough. Maybe if it ever got popular enough, it could be animated. With that said, though, bro, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think this story would have the same shock value if it wasn't done in the way that it's done in manga. Like you couldn't take the story and do like a book, like an actual book. It had to be a manga. And while sure it could work in an anime, I feel like I feel like because when you watch an anime, you know that like at the end you know that, oh look, you can tell by the timeline that this is like maybe you have another 20 minutes left of this episode. Like it's not that big of a deal if something goes completely crazy, right? No, with this one, bro, you don't know when you first get to that point of the manga. You don't know if that's going to be the rest of the like 50 pages left. Like it's I feel like the only way this book could really be as what was the right word I want to use, as impactful is if it was a manga. And while it could be cool as an anime, I feel like it was very impactful more as a manga. What do you think about that?
Yeah. All right, I can see that. Although I still really want to see how it would be adapted in like a short film, around like maybe 45 minutes around there, because
Yeah,
I don't think
it's really not a long story at all. I say
no,
200 pages. Most people look at that like 200-page it's a one chapter book. It's a
yeah,
short story. It's a full story. 200 pages really is nothing. There's like 4 panels a page. Like
yeah, really. And there's not even that much dialogue most of the time, so
no, in fact there was this one scene where I want to say for like 3 panels, the only thing that was different was the positions of this one character's hand, which we'll talk about in spoilers here in a second. Like that went on for like 3 pages, no
yeah,
dialogue. Like again, art. Again, it's pure art in its greatest form. Whether you like the art or not, it's still art. Um, and I'm actually under the obsession that I'm mixed on it, so which is different than I think a lot of people would be, because I feel like a lot of people would be in either your camp or the other camp hating on it,
yeah.
like Ninjoy is. With that said, guys, I would actually give this book, and I know it's crazy because again, I want to praise him as much, and at the same time, I want to yell rule of thirds to him so much to the author. I'm gonna give this at least a 7 out of 10, and really, I almost want to give it a 9, but rule of thirds, rule of thirds. I'm giving it a 7. What are you gonna rate it, man?
I'd probably give it honestly a 9. I just really love this short story. It was really, really well done, amazing. I love the characters. I love how he wrote like the entire series. Like the twists too were pretty good, well done,
Yeah, the
especially the
twists
one in
were
the
good.
middle. And the art
Yeah, I
and
agree with that.
the paneling, it was all so good. 9 out of 10, I'd say.
Yep. The biggest thing to me is and again, I don't know if you agree with it or not. Maybe it's just because you're into those type of stories more than I am. Unease was the biggest thing I felt from it. From
Mm.
reading the book until all the way to the end where you got that big surprise and it's like, what the heck was that? That's
I felt it
actually
was
really
more surreal than anything else. Like what I
that's
was
yeah.
reading wasn't exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't feel really horrified by it, but it felt really
Like
weird
I wasn't scared
near
of
the end
it,
of
but
it.
it's just
Yeah.
it's just because of the subject matter and the positioning of the images. You start putting yourself into the main character's shoes to the point where he eventually stopped drawing the main character. You were literally the main character.
Yeah.
Where I just felt unease on the whole subject. But with that said, guys, we are going to be getting into spoilers now. So, I really suggest if you are wanting to read the book, to go and read and watch the rest of this video later on, because we are now going to start getting into spoilers for this story, and it's actually some pretty crazy story. It's actually kind of really kind of dark as well. Uh,
Yeah. It is.
you want to start or shall I?
Well, I'll start, I guess. Should I just
Yeah,
like give off the like what happens in the
yeah. Go
story?
ahead and give off the like basic main story of what actually happens within it, and then we'll discuss certain aspects of it that
All right.
we really want to talk about.
Well, it first starts off with our main character as a little kid, like around 10 or somewhere around there, named Yuta, who gets his first camera as a kid for his birthday by his mother and father. And his mother wants him to use that camera in order to record her last moments since she has an illness that is apparently like incurable or what uncurable, whatever. And so
Yeah.
he does that for a couple years, I'd say like a year or two, somewhere around there. But then when she's finally on her deathbed, he's too scared to record her last words, so he rushes off. But then this huge moment, there's suddenly an explosion behind him, and then it's revealed that all we've been
Yeah.
watching was actually a movie that Yuta made. It was like a it was like a documentary because it did all happen apart from the
Yeah.
explosion.
But
He
it was
just
like a school festival video where,
yeah,
he showed it to the
or
whole
like talent
class.
show or whatever. He showed it to the entire school, and
Yep.
everybody was so disgusted with him because at first they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be an emotional movie or a short movie." Then he just adds this random ass explosion near the end, which just all makes everybody like so mad and hates him. And so
Yep.
even his father streams on him, which was kind of a comedic moment. Honestly, I couldn't help but
Yeah, it
laugh.
was.
It was pretty
Hmm.
funny. He was like, I don't see anything wrong with that I did. As far as like, you dumbass.
I know, like really? You literally just
Ow.
made fun of the fact that your mother is dead. What about everyone else who has parents or grandparents that are gone? You literally just made fun of it all by
Yeah.
doing that? Like really?
Damn, dude.
Like I can see
Then,
why many people would bully him after that. They shouldn't bully
yeah.
him, but that's where the way the story goes.
Mhm. And so Yuta, after this, decides that he's going to kill himself on top of the hospital that his mother died.
Yep, that's
So he
great.
records his final words. He says bye to everyone, his father, the people at school. He walks up there, about to jump off, to the girl around his age, supposedly. Um, she talks to him, say like, "Hey, are you planning on killing yourself?" Don't do it here. Do it at the other hospital. That hospital's full of assholes. This one's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's actually, dude. I'm sorry. That was really dark humor and everything, and trust
It
me, the
was.
subject matter. Never go near that kind of stuff. But dude, that was
No.
hilarious.
It was pretty funny. She just said to Yuta like, "Oh, you're planning on killing yourself? Don't do it here. These people are nice.
Yep.
Do it at the other hospital. Those people are fucking
Yeah.
assholes."
Go and ruin the other hospital's reputation. They're a bunch of jerks anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so she decides.
I wonder if she. That reminds me, bro. I wonder if the reason why she knows that she might have been at those other hospitals. You ever thought about that?
Maybe, honestly, because of her own onus that she has. So
Yeah, which we'll talk about as he goes into the story. Go on, man.
yeah. So she decides to lead him to this abandoned, what was it, warehouse or school, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, it was an abandoned
Yeah,
warehouse.
Yeah, she sits him down in front of a TV on a couch and watches 9 movies with him for the rest of the day. And finally, after finishing the last movie, she said to him that she thought her name's Eri. She thought
Yep.
his movie was awesome, and she didn't know why everybody hated it. But she said that she saw like huge potential in him for an actually good movie. So she's decided to help for the next festival or talent show, whatever. Before that, she decides to help him make a new actually good movie that everybody in their school likes. And so she sits him down every single day for the next like year or so, watching movies, watching movies for like, to get a feel of how it works, how they like do them. And which is why I said that Nindroid would probably fucking love this if he just gave it a goddamn chance.
Yeah, if he actually gave it a chance, if he read the whole book, that's the thing though. You can't just read half of it like I did, set down, because if you do that, you're gonna hate this thing.
Yeah.
You gotta read the whole thing to get what's actually happening. And you were right about that. When you read the whole thing, it just clicks at the end. And even by the end, you're like, wow, that didn't click at all. That's amazing how he did it. And yeah, it's understandable so greatly. It's great.
Like, you just have to like find some time out of your day, like 40 minutes maybe, or maybe even an hour, depending on how fast you read and how much you take your time, and just read it all without any interruption. If you have to pee, hold it.
Go through the
If you go
whole
somewhere,
thing.
hold it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I did it, and that's how I got the most enjoyment out of it.
I wish I did it like that, because the way I did is I read 30 pages, stopped, I went cleaning the dishes, came back, read 30 more, ended up hating it, texting you that I hated it. You encouraged me to continue reading it, and I did, and now I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh boy. Continuing on. I mean, you want me to take over from this point, because it's pretty
I'll
fun.
go on. Well, unless you want to.
Yeah, I'll go on. So, we got our main character, which, by the way, what was his name again?
Yuta.
So we got Yuta finally having a friend in Eri, and he and him are planning to make this whole movie. And so he's like, you know what? He asked his dad, what does his dad always see in his stories and everything? And he's like, you know what? You always brought a little bit of fantasy to the world. You really like fantasy. And so he decides to make Eri a vampire in his story, which we'll get to that, because that has really interesting occasions later on in the story. It really does. But so he and her are planning to make a movie. They even and the line between reality and what is the movie is blurred so well, where you literally do not know when he is filming to make a movie, or if he is literally just talking to her about something not movie related. Like, it's really, the line is so blurred very easily, very quickly. And eventually, he even gets his dad involved in it. His dad sits there and is like, Eri, I'm glad you befriended my son, but you know what? Your and I can't exactly remember what he said word for word, but it was like, hey, uh, if you go through with making the second movie, it's going to hurt him. You can't hurt my son. I want you out of his life. Blah blah blah. And then it's like cut. Dude, the line
Yeah, that's
between whether that was reality or not was crazy.
I know, and that's another thing I forgot to mention that, but the way how this series makes you not don't makes you like not realize or not figure out if it's real or not is insane because they like first give some little hints to maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
real, maybe it's not, like what you're seeing, maybe it's
Yeah.
like actually happening, maybe it's just for the movie. Then that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so she tells him, they're trying to plan out their whole story of what's going to happen in the end. So Aries got this idea, well, because the main character made a movie and couldn't actually film his mother's death, maybe he feels bad about that. And now that the vampire is sick, maybe now he can get some closure finally being able to film her death and everything and like that. Well, of course, Eri is the vampire, and it turns out, well, hey, Eri is actually dying herself. And the line between whether or not she was dying in the movie or whether or not she was actually dying, you don't know which one was actually real until she was gone. It turns out that she had very much like his mother was sick and dying, and she wanted to preserve her entire life. Don't know where Sour went, but I'm sure he'll be back in a minute. She wanted to preserve her entire life in the memory of a movie, which it was fantastically done. It was fantastically told within the panels of the book. It's really was crazy. Really was out there. I really did enjoy
Sorry, I'm back.
how yeah, it's fine. I really did enjoy how blurred that really was because I did not, for the longest time reading that, I did not think she was sick at all until she was actually just gone. And we find out in the book later on after her death that because of everything Yuta had to go through with his mother, it actually gave him some trauma because she wanted to actually film herself overcoming this great sickness, and she wanted her someone to film her, being the best, being somebody to look up to, blah 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 blah. She let it all go to her head, and so she demanded her son make her look very pretty in certain shots and everything.
Yeah,
And
his mother
eventually,
was sorry.
yeah, it's don't get me wrong. I'm not saying his mother didn't love him, but his mother did cause some trauma with him,
Yeah,
because of that.
definitely.
And eventually, she couldn't overcome the sickness and wanted him to film her perfect death and be beautiful and preserved forever. And he couldn't do it, you know.
Yeah, she was rather
Yeah.
emotionally abusive towards him. During I
Yeah.
don't know if we as readers don't know if it happened even before he got his camera or if it just started when he got his
With the
camera.
camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the camera, but we could tell as like, and in hindsight, as we reread it, we can tell those silent moments with his father just standing there like crying to himself or something. It wasn't just because of his wife passing away soon, but it was also because
Yeah.
of how he didn't know what to do. He felt terrible for not standing up for his son while
Yep.
his wife
At
basically
the same
emotionally abused
time,
him.
it's still his wife. He still loves her. He doesn't want
Yeah.
her to die. And it's not saying that the mother didn't care for her son either. We want to make that clear. But that,
Mhm.
family can sometimes be very tough, and
Yeah.
cause some family trauma, even though they love you. It's the truth. So the line between whether or not she was a villain, whether or not she was a good guy, there is no line. She cared for her son, but at the same time, she did cause some trauma for him. That sounds fed up.
It is fucked.
What's up, Jaxla? So you want to continue on with what happens after that? I think you should.
No, all right then. So yeah, we find that out, and I kind of forget what happens after that. Doesn't Eri find out about that or something? Or
Yeah,
no?
Eri does.
Eri
Yeah,
does find out.
Eri does find out about that. She slowly gets sicker and sicker, and eventually
Yeah,
she
she has her own
passes away.
illness, and Yuta
Mhm.
and Yuta and Eri continue their film and get closer to it, to finishing it, and like so, they get closer to uh,
Each
together
other.
as like friends,
Yeah.
yeah, friendship. But then
Yeah.
sadly, Eri passes away, and then I think this is where what you said comes up, where it's just like 4 entire pages of just black text, or not even
Yeah.
text, just like a black screen, until
It's
finally
a
at the last.
black screen, the entire 3 pages.
Sorry,
Like, dude, what if he did like 30 pages of like black screen?
oh god, that'd
I'm
be terrible.
glad he did, but 3 pages kind of makes you go like panic. Like, is that the end of the book? Oh, that
Yeah,
sucks. Where's the rest of it? Especially
don't
because he
worry,
does
there
it
is.
not 1 page, which would have been enough. He does it 3 pages.
Yeah, but
Best
then
part of the book, because obviously of that shock value and the quietness of it
it
all.
is definitely
Best
one of
part of
the
the
best.
book. At the same time, oh my god.
I also love how Fujimoto allows silence to speak.
It really,
So
yeah,
I love when authors do that, and just people who make art do that. It's really nice.
yeah,
It sometimes leads to the
yeah.
best
So
moments ever
it really
for any
does.
series.
So
And
basically,
then,
what happened was Yuta kind of grew up, right? And
well, no, we
it's
didn't. We didn't. No, no, no. Wait. We didn't get to that part yet. With
yeah.
these like
Oh, okay.
4 or 3 um, blank pages, basically, the last black text box has in the right hand corner the end, and then the camera zooms out. I know I'm saying camera, but like it's a
I
fucking
know it's a
manga.
camera. It's a camera.
But yeah, zooms out to the same exact basically like view that they had in like in like the earlier parts of the book with the
Mhm.
students watching the movie. But this time, instead of being disgusted by it, they all start to cry because like this actually happened to one of their classmates, and it wasn't even disrespectful at all. It was like very
No, it
sweet,
was. Yeah.
and we don't get to see how much they reacted apart from their cries, and that's all we really need. Apart from this one girl who was like friends with Eri, she
Yeah.
said to Yuta, "Hey, thanks for making that movie for us to remember Eri." Then she was like,
Yeah.
"Were you two ever like dating?" Yuta was like, "No, actually, I asked her to be my girlfriend, but she said the feeling wasn't mutual, so we just ended up as friends." Like, I actually really like that because like
So do I. So do I.
I really enjoy that because like it says
Yeah.
that it shows us that not all boys and girls, men and women who are friends need to be in a relationship. They can just be friends,
Yeah. I
which is something
completely
I feel
agree
like
with you there.
our world needs to like realize because it's so stupid. Like,
Mhm.
oh, you two must be dating if you're a girl and a boy and
Yep.
you're friends. Like, no, it's so
Yep.
stupid.
And
It's
it's
dumb.
not even with girl and boy anymore. Sometimes guys are just
Yeah,
friends. Sometimes it's not, a
but it's fine
relationship
either
like
way.
that. Which is fine.
Fine
It's
if they're
fine either
friends. It's
way,
fine if
but
they have
hey,
fun. But yeah,
you know. Yeah. But
but then
something about that scene that I actually want to talk about before we continue, Sour, is something really interesting that Erie's friend actually remarks about her. She says,
yeah,
"Yeah, while the movie was great, it was beautiful. It captures her in such a nice light." She even admits it herself that um, she was actually kind of a jerk at some points.
mhm,
She wasn't
yeah,
she wasn't what the movie betrays her as all the time, and I really find that interesting because the fact is, when it comes to people who pass away and everything else like that, you always, when you look back on people, what do you think you see? You don't think about how many times somebody done wrong to you. You think of them in a nice, kind light, or like a little personal example. I only think of my great grandmother as someone who I absolutely love, because the only experience I ever had of her was someone that I absolutely love. But Um, Apparently, she wasn't the nicest person in the family. Big deal, right? Me and my sister. Me and my sister growing up, we hated each other. We were so terrible to each other. But now when I look back on it, I almost never think about the things I hated about her. I only think about the good times I had with my sister. And I love my sister, and that's the thing. Even though, yeah, not everybody. I really like how he shows that in the book. Really like how he shows that in the book, that not that just because somebody might be something else, might be a little jerk, might be something else like that. It's the good memories that count, and that movie really showed just the good memories that were there. Sure, were there bad memories from her? Yes, Eri turned out to be somewhat of a jerk. Her friend even admitted that. But her friend's not going to remember those bad memories all the time. Her friend wants to remember her as her friend. That's good. That's something I really like what the story does. You know what I mean, man?
Yeah, and even Eunice, or not Eunice. Well, yeah, you. Hold up. She even says how like the movie helped her remember like Eri in a good light, and this is definitely one of Fujimoto's themes of the story about like how film, how like these types of movies, or just movies in general, can make you have a lasting impression on someone, like in a good way, and it's very sweet. Honestly, I actually like that.
Yeah. And I do like Jack's lost statement here. I think that is about you more than them. Yes, we all have bad memories about with the people we know. We all tell the story we want. Yes, that is completely true. But like for the majority of people, people don't want to remember somebody as their worst in their worst position. Everybody wants to remember somebody in their best position, kind of thing. You know?
hmm Yeah,
Yeah. And I like how that was given and betrayed in this book. It was really interesting. And it's really a different take on that. So I really kind of picked up on that for some reason. But moving on, you can tell the rest of the story from there because
all right.
it gets even wilder from here.
Yeah. So after um after that, there's actually a pretty long time skip. Yuta tells a story about how he finished high school, he went off to college, he got married, had a kid, but all through that, he decided to edit what was it, the movie that they made to make it even better or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it comes down to, you know what? Nindroid's going to love me right here because I'm calling you out, Nindroid, on that. The fact is, it goes back to what George Lucas has said. Yes, I'm bringing in the big man. George Lucas has even said a movie is never done; it's just put out. And that's why George Lucas, went back and kept changing it until it was perfect. And I'm sure he will admit that his stories are not perfect, that his stories are not done. I bet you, if anything, he could go back and change more, add more, make it more fleshed out story if he could. Now it's in
Yeah.
Disney's hands, but that's basically what happens here with that's basically what happens here with Yuta. Yuta keeps adding, keeps changing, wants to keep improving his story that he made. Even if he
Yeah.
never gets the chance to release it out, he wants to remember her the best it could be.
Yeah. And so Yuta, I feel like definitely you can obviously tell that Fujimoto loves Star Wars, which, by the way, enjoyed. That's why you should read his works, because he is also, just like you, a fellow lover of Star Wars. You can tell it. He takes a
Yeah.
lot of inspiration from the series. But anyway, um, so he's editing the film all throughout these years, trying to make it better and better. Even like, which he didn't. He never neglected his own personal life, his own child, his own wife.
No, he
He
even
just
got
did
married, had
that.
a kid,
Yeah,
had a life, went
and
to
he
his
took very
dad on
good care
Easter
of them.
Sunday.
He loved them. He loved all of them. It was more like this editing thing was like a one-off side of things. So like he
Yeah.
never
Just in
like
his spare
lost sight
time.
of the people that he actually cared. Yeah, in his spare time, he usually did it. But, oh man, this is where it gets so sad.
Yeah.
The next part, we see him turn on the camera in like his lone room, all by himself. He says to the camera, "Oh man, I'll tell this. He was in a bad car accident.
Yeah.
He,
Real bad car
his
accident.
child, his wife, and his father were all in it, and he was the only survivor, and he was the driver.
Only sole
And
survivor.
so,
That's great.
so much
When
like
I was
nothing.
at that part of the story, I was like, okay, what the heck? Where do we go here? Are they literally just gonna
Yeah.
end it with him walking down the side street? Like, I had no idea where the story was gonna go after that. But go
Yeah,
on.
and it felt like it was definitely trying to replicate what the beginning saying, because he even said in this moment that he was planning on killing himself, just like in the beginning of the series.
Yep.
And so he decides to finally, after stopping his recording, he finally decides to head back to the warehouse where he and Eri used to always watch the
Where he
movie.
was most happiest, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, where he
He
was
has the
most
greatest
happiest.
memories.
And the warehouse was even more run down now. It was like all decrepit
Yep.
and stuff. And as he walks in there,
The
guess who
biggest
he
twist on the
sees
planet.
sitting on the fucking couch? It's goddamn motherfucking Eri herself. And
Yep.
Yuda's like
Okay,
so
now stop there. Stop there for a minute. Okay, I gotta explain what I thought was going on here. Okay, because there was a couple things running through my head of what could be going on here. One, he could have been dead this whole time. Okay, think about that. What if he was just dead this whole time, and now he is finally seeing, he's just going through his life history. Okay, he's going through what happened to his trauma in early ages. He's going to what happened to his best friend Eri, and now he's finally at heaven's door, and he sees Eri again. I thought, okay, he's been dead this whole time and he gets to see his friend before he goes in the light again. I thought, okay, that's how they're gonna end it. That's interesting. She's sitting there, she's watching a movie. He's probably going to join her. He's probably going to sit there and watch the movie. And as they do, roll credits because he's dead. He's been dead the entire time. I thought that's the way the story was gonna end. Boy, was I wrong. Go on, tell them what actually
very
happened.
All right, so Yuda was like, "Wait, how the hell? Oh, I must be dreaming or whatever." She's like,
Yeah,
and
he
Eri's like,
even
"No, you
says
aren't
it
dreaming. I'm
himself.
actually here." He was like, "Well, then what the hell's going on? I mean, like, you died like 30 plus years ago. What the fuck's happening?" And she said,
She hasn't even aged. She looks
"Yeah, she
exactly
looks
the
the exact
same.
same as she did when they were teenagers." He was like, "What the fuck's happening?" It's like, and she's
Yep.
like, "You know how you always said, there's one thing missing in your story in the movie that we made, and it's fantasy." And Yuda's so confused,
Yeah.
like, "Motherfucker, what do you mean missing fantasy? I literally made you a
I had you
vampire."
be a vampire. Oh my
And
god.
Eri herself looks up at him, says, "That ain't fantasy. I am a vampire." Like, huh? Now, I've been recently thinking, since it's been about a week or so since
Yeah.
it came out, maybe your theory was right that he did actually die, or like maybe this is all just a fantasy to him. Because like
Yeah.
it just comes out
Maybe.
of nowhere, really, and like there's really no build up to it at all, really.
No,
So
that's
I
kind of the point. It's so
yeah.
shocking. Shock value is
But then
there.
the ending itself, like the actual final panel of it, kind of like
Uh-huh.
makes me feel that way. Because like I'll get to that soon. Anyway,
Yeah.
Aries like, "Yeah, I'm a vampire." Although I didn't when I reincarnated again, every time I reincarnate, I lose my memories. So
That's that I don't think I've ever heard of a vampire actually doing that. So that was
no.
interesting to me.
So then she went to that school or like abandoned warehouse, and she watched all those movies, and over the years regained the memories that her old self had.
Yeah.
And so Eri gives what was it? Eri gives Yuta the confidence to keep on living, basically. Or I feel like you could put this a better way. Dylan.
Yeah, okay, yeah. It's because it's exactly like what you were saying. It's because Eri gives him the confidence to keep on living. But what's really interesting with Eri, on the other hand, is that she was a vampire and she just couldn't remember her past life, which is really interesting because when you think of it, when you make movies, when you make TV shows and all that, those stories are like cemented forever. What Eri basically really wanted to do was that version of Eri really wanted to do was never forget herself, never forget the good times that she has, even though she was going to reincarnate. And yeah, Eri did die, but this Eri now can practically become friends with the old Eri through this movie. She can also practically become friends with Yuta again because of Yuta's experience, which is really crazy. And because of that, Yuta does one of the craziest things that I never saw coming. I could have sworn he was still gonna sit down and just enjoy the rest of his life with his best vampire friend and still watch his crazy movies. Instead, he's like, you know what? You're right. It gives him like the confidence boost to not end it all, to actually just enjoy the rest of what he has. And so he walks out of the building, and we're like, okay, that's good. The door closes. That's the end. You flip the page, and the building blows up.
And just like Eri and his own father said, every good story needs at least a little bit of fantasy to it.
Yeah. So it really makes you think, okay, this is the end of the story. What was real, what was not?
Exactly.
I have no idea if she was actually there, or vampire, or vision, or the explosion was real, or what. But it blows your mind away.
I know. It's the point. I don't think you're supposed to know.
I want to say something else, but I tend not to curse on stream, so I'll keep that to myself.
Fine. Just a little curse word won't help. Won't hurt.
I don't curse on my own streams because my grandma watches these.
Oh.
I know. I'm a mama's boy. I'm a nanny's boy.
A grandmama's boy.
Yeah, I don't curse. I don't. Haven't you noticed that, bro? I never curse in any of my own videos. Noticed. I let you guys curse. Austin curses all the time on here, but I don't curse on my own streams.
Mm.
I just don't like doing it. My grandma watches these.
Now this isn't talking about the ending.
I will put in the private chat.
All right. This isn't talking about the ending, but I just more so like near the beginning actually, because I forgot to mention this, but I feel like this story was also inspired by the reception that his first ever series, Fire Punch, got, because it too was trying to tell like a serious story with dark themes, subject matter, serious, and all that stuff. But it had a little bit of like weirdness to it, like really like what the fuck moments. Because like I keep on saying this, I keep going back to this moment, but like there's this really intense moment with one character who then just suddenly says their entire purpose of doing all this is so that they can watch a new Star Wars movie, which is just like so silly and stupid in the grand scheme of things once you think about it.
Yeah, that's really ridiculous.
Because of all this like weirdness to Fire Punch and how silly it could get, and then with some like fucked up and serious moments to it, it got a lot of reception, like how Yuta's own movie got, which definitely had to have inspired it at least a little bit. So
yeah.
But I still love Fire Force. Or not Fire Force. Man, I love Fire Force too, but Fire Punch.
Yeah, Fire Force is fantastic, but you are talking about the other one. Yeah.
Fire Punch.
Fire Punch.
The other
I might read that. That might be the next one that I might read.
It's only
it's
like
the
85 chapters.
Oh, go ahead.
And it's not too long.
How many chapters is it?
Like around 85, 86, somewhere around there. It's shorter than Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny though because you say that normal people out there are probably looking at us like 85 chapters. People don't realize I read a book that was 700 chapters
Yeah.
called Naruto. When it comes to
And
manga and anime, it's not like you're reading a 700-page book. You know what I mean?
no.
In fact,
And
85 chapters,
I'm
that's really
still
not that
trying
bad.
to read a series that's 1,040 chapters.
Yeah, good luck with that. I'm not even touching that one.
So
One
put it on
Piece.
hold. I'm only on like 300. I'm only on like chapter 337 right now because I put it on hold. So I got a
Yeah,
long way to go.
good luck on that. That one,
There's quite a bit of
that
dialogue.
one. I don't think One Piece will ever end. I don't think it will ever end.
Apparently, this recent arc called Wano Country is apparently the beginning of the end. Just now, after 1,000 chapters.
Hey, the beginning of the end could still be about 500 more chapters. I mean, look at My Hero Academia. We're supposed to
that's
be in
true.
the last arc of the show, the last arc of the book, and we're still at least maybe 50 chapters away from finding out what the heck is the main bad guy's plan.
Yeah.
So, which My Hero Academia is in the manga. It's really fantastic. You caught up with it, right?
Yeah, I caught up with it.
Dude, I am loving this whole reveal between Dabi and Chocho. At the same time, it's like you've been dragging this out forever. Now we finally get it. Yeah, you know. I love it. I just wish it was done like last arc or something like that because I mean, it was so obvious. He took it way too long before the big reveal of it was done.
Although I will say
Everybody
that reveal with Dobby was one of the best moments in the entire series. Also,
actually, to me, the best reveal of the entire series to me was actually, and you might disagree with that, but who, and I don't want to spoil it, so, but who the spy actually was. I was not expecting him at all, and it literally turned my least favorite character of the show. Okay, my second least favorite character of the show. There is Mineta.
Yeah, that's true.
The second least favorite character of the show to one of the best characters of the show. Like I absolutely love.
I don't think there's one of the best. The reveal was like pretty decent. I didn't. Yeah, I completely disagree.
I was not. He was the last person I even expected to be it. Like, but when
Honestly,
you actually look back, it makes so much sense.
Even before the reveal, because I got spoiled it, but even before the reveal, I kind of had a. He was like primary suspect number 1 in my list.
Yeah, well, when you look back at it, it's really obvious who it is when you look back on it because who was he watching the entire time?
Exactly.
I mean, even I'm not even kidding. In the not the thumbnails, the intros. In the intros to the show, if you pay attention to this specific character and what he does, he's always looking at someone in those intros. So it's actually really smart and really creative. I would never expect this character ever, even though it was so obvious that was him. So
I was also lied to
great.
I was technically also lied to about there being a second traitor because while going into this, I thought that another character would be the traitor because from like what I saw on like Twitter and stuff, I thought that they were saying that, oh my god, there's a second traitor and it's this character. I'll put who I thought it was. But there was no second traitor. It was just that one character.
Yeah, it was just that one character. Don't get me wrong, it was a good reveal, and it was so obvious. Oh yeah, I know. Which it was so. I'll just say it. Well, no, I'm not gonna say it because I don't want people to get the idea. But speaking of that character, we also got a really interesting reveal from that character as well. That may not be what everybody wanted to know, but it still was interesting as hell. what I'm talking about is I'm typing it now.
All right. But while we're just on the fact
Yeah.
that,
We
all
don't
right,
want
yeah.
we don't want to spoil this stuff for fans that haven't seen it.
No. But while we're
Yeah,
on
but
the
yeah.
topic of other series, I just caught up with Man of the Lustrous.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking
I just
god.
caught up with Orient actually, and
Orient? Yeah, the anime.
yeah. I sent you. I don't know if you saw my text to you or not,
No,
but
I saw it.
yeah, dude, I think it has some real good potential. It is not as good as Black Clover. Is nowhere near Naruto, but I think
Oh,
it has potential.
speaking of Black Clover, have you caught up with the manga yet, or have you read the
I
recent
have,
chapters?
and I have, and bro, like, there's a little part of me that's like really irritated at the same
Yeah,
time. There's another part of me that really loves it. But like the last like 4 chapters should not have been 4 chapters. They should have been one
yeah.
chapter. Like,
Seriously?
yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, some really great stuff is happening in it, but man, it should not be like 4 or 5 chapters long. It should be one chapter. I Part of me thinks it's because the author is like focusing on the movie too much than
Maybe.
the actual show. And I really hope that when the movie comes out that it is this last season of the show. But I don't know if it is or not. And if it's not, if they
Well,
don't continue Black Clover, what the heck? Because
well,
I want
I
this
don't
good story told.
I don't think there has been a there hasn't been a confirmation yet that the series is ending soon. So we might get even after like this arc, we might get like a couple more arcs too. So
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I was watching this one guy's video about what he might think the next arc might be. He thinks that we might actually go to hell itself, which that would be interesting to see
oh yeah,
hell in
like what Bleach
yeah.
is doing.
Yeah, but again, if we defeat the greatest foe in the story, like what stakes could be
Yeah,
next? And
honestly.
but with that said, you have to admit this. I have to admit this, okay? Yeah, if the big bag villain that we have here, a Naruto comparison would be Kagura, and just like I always say, Black Clover does everything Naruto does so much better. Oh my god, I hate Kagura so much, dude. There was no point to turn Naruto and Sasuke into gods.
Yeah.
Like, in Black Clover, we are not turning our two characters into gods. They're just
No,
defeating
but all the
a great
characters do
villain.
have a ton of plot armor because
They
like not
do.
even
They
plot
really
armor
do.
because like
Eh,
okay, do you mind if I just like spoil a little bit what's been happening recently
Go
in the
ahead, but be a
all
little
right.
vague because the big thing that is happening, I don't want to give it fully away.
All right. Well, they're fighting this real big tough dude, who they beat in like 7 chapters, and they cause him to run away. Like, I'll get you. He's literally a Scooby Doo. He's like, I'll get you, meddling kids, next time when
He
I'm at
literally
full
said
power."
that. He literally said mailing kids. Oh my god.
And but then like, and this is a war, arc, by the way.
Yeah.
None of our characters died. Like, not even any
None
of
of
the
our characters
side
have any
characters.
states. Like, literally, I think one person that really should have died by now, and I'm sorry to say it because I love him so much. How the heck is Yami still alive in this, bro?
Yeah, I can
After what
see
they did to
why.
him?
Yeah, I feel like if Yami, even if just Yami would have died, it would have been like put much greater stakes in the series. Right now, it feels like they're all,
It was.
especially
There's
with
no
what
stakes in the
Mimosa
series.
did in yesterday's chapter. I don't know if you read it yet. Yesterday's
Yeah.
chapter.
I haven't read
I mean,
yesterday's chapter just yet. No, I was
what she
at
did.
work.
somehow makes the stakes even lower. You
Really?
once you read it, you'll know how I mean by that. Because
Oh,
what
great.
Mimosa just does makes the stakes even fucking lower. It's like insane. And there's been a lot
Yeah,
of
and I mean,
and understandably so.
yeah,
They've been calling it Disney Clover.
Disney Clover. Yeah, you know what? I actually, as much as I love Black Clover, and again, I think Black Clover, in so many ways, is way better than Naruto. Even I have to admit that Kagura at least had some better stakes, because there's so many.
Yeah.
The thing that Naruto did, which surprised everybody, was when, spoilers for a series that came out like 10 years ago, bro, Neji died. When they killed off Neji, the stakes and how you felt about that story. Okay, Neji wasn't like Naruto's best friend ever, right by his side the entire time, but Neji was one of the main 9 characters. He was a kid. He was literally like, what, 16, 17? The dude died in a war. And granted, so many people died in this war. But Neji, one of the main characters we grew up with, died.
Yeah.
And then we have Hinata standing up to that and standing beside her man Naruto, which I love. I just wish, I wish Naruto and Hinata were more of a couple in the manga than they actually were. Because I'm telling you, after Hinata said "I love you" after the pain arc, Naruto and her should have gone on at least a couple of dates. We never got to see that. And then all of the sudden, at the end of the story, she's like, "Yep, I'm gonna stand by my man." Like, what? Where'd that come from? I know you just said you loved him in Pain Arc, but this was literally like out of nowhere. Your cousin just died. Like, what? But
Yeah.
that was a little out of nowhere. Again, Black Clover is doing such a better job when it comes to female characters than Naruto ever did. But the stakes, because of what happened to Neji, were so high in that series, where this one just it's off the charts. So I do agree with you on that. Naruto is better at something.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
while even these latest chapters of Black Clover haven't been all too good, I can't say that I hate the Spade Kingdom arc, because it has been, other than this, has been really, really actually good so far. I don't know if it's better than Elf Reincarnation, but like there's some moments where like, damn, like especially that Magna moment around chapter 300 somewhere around there. You know what I mean. You know, and that moment was such a badass moment. And then,
And I'm sorry, Jackslaw, we'll get to your comments in a second. Go on.
It's like, I can't hate the Spade Kingdom arc. It's just like these recent chapters have been not as good as the past chapters of the Spade Kingdom arc.
Well, mostly what it is he just keeps dragging out the story that should have been in one chapter and done.
Honestly, I feel like, yeah, it should have been done in like just like less chapters, I feel like, but there should have been so much more deaths than like 0. There have been 0 deaths literally on the good guy side, and that's so insane. Not even the minor characters. None of the captains have died yet. None of them.
Yeah, that is true.
One of the Magic Knight captains has died. Not Yami. Not even like the minor ones, like Jack the Ripper or that Dream Lady.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. No one died. No one. Like, honestly, I do not know how the person that again, I don't know how Yami is still alive throughout this. Yami should have been gone. Like, gone. Like, I love Yami, but there's no way he survived this.
If Yami would have died, I mean, I feel like Tabata has something in mind for Yami with like what he was saying about his body recently.
And we don't know Yami's full backstory either, so maybe we'll get that in the future.
It does make sense, but there still should have been some deaths, because this happened in the last war arc too, in Elf Reincarnation, which I still love. Don't get me wrong, but like No one died on our side or on the good guy's side.
None.
In that arc either. 0.
Yeah, there has been no stakes really. None at all. That's the only problem that I have with Black Clover right now. I still love the series. I still think Black Clover is above a lot of series. I still think that's better than most of Naruto. I might be the only one alive that thinks that, but it really is. So let's get to some of Jack's Law's comments. I'm gonna move along that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jack's Law, if you're talking about Noel, I can't deny that. I can't deny that, but here we go. Sounds fun. Do. I think this is about you. Yeah, I think I've gotten.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
did
do.
I ever tell you the story of my father, his VCR off the back of a truck when VCRs were new? Lol. And he got it home, and it was 2 bricks.
In a VCR.
Ah!
Damn.
It was a VCR. Dude, you want to know something that's really funny? My dad. Okay, you know how Taco Bell sometimes has those really weird contests? Okay, my dad won a PlayStation 3 when it came out.
Oh, damn.
Brand new PlayStation 3. He took it home, he plugged it in. We only got an hour out of it before it caught on fire. And he did not replace it either. I can tell you that right now. But yeah, the only PlayStation 3 I had was it caught on fire. He literally won it at Taco Bell. Yeah. How to tell stories about the true, yeah, but hurtful. Yes. And he knew it. So I started telling that one about him. Yeah. And it was true as well. That's actually really funny. Yeah. On the way. Yeah. Ignoring that.
Yeah.
Ignoring the rest. But I will say this: if you're talking about a certain character, Noelle, she is a fantastic character. Not for any other reason than she is a good character. Sort of. Let's move on. Right, Sour?
Yeah.
Dude, she does have some really good moments though in the story. But with that said, I think we've talked about everything we wanted to talk about. We even talked about Black Clover, and oh, dude, though, you know what I did watch before we went to this this live stream? I watched the first episode of Spy X Family. I love it. I love it.
It's so good.
I have not watched episode 2 yet. I'm gonna
Alright,
do
that's
that
fine.
probably after this stream. I absolutely love Spy X Family. That is so cute, little girl.
Also, apparently,
Allie is
the
her name, right?
in it apparently is
Anna.
it's like Spy Family, just like Hunter x Hunter doesn't pronounce the
Yeah.
X. Yeah,
Yeah, it's Spy
I like
Family,
it.
like Hunter x Hunter.
yeah.
I always say Hunter x Hunter, so
I used to say
You
Hunter
know.
x Hunter, but Hunter x Hunter. That
yeah,
kind of
it's
sounds
Hunter x
impossible.
Hunter. You don't say the X. So it's Spy Family, even though it's Spy X Family. I'm
Yeah.
gonna probably say Spy X Family every time I see it, but
That's fine.
Spy
I don't
Family.
like it.
I really am. I really did like the main character. I'm so bad with names. I am so terrible at remembering names, bro. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, his
I
name's
really like
Lloyd.
the main character. I really like him being kind of a spy. You know, and dude, that was so funny when he spit out his coffee and was like, I have to have a kid in a week.
Yeah. He was like, "How the
I have to
hell
be
am I
married
gonna
and have a kid in a
how am I
week.
gonna have a kid in 7 days?" And everybody just looks over at him. Like, what?
Yep. Everyone looked at him like, "Oh, sorry."
It's really
Oh
funny.
my god, that was
Also,
hilarious.
Anya's the highlight of the series. She's great.
Yes, I already fell in love with her story.
I love Anya. She's so adorable and sweet. I can already tell that Waka Waka, like fucking Pac-Man, will become like a popular phrase to say.
Yeah,
Waka, waka.
dude. Yeah, and then of course we got to the peanuts joke. That's funny.
Peanut.
She was literally just wanting to because she can literally hear the minds of people. She
Yeah, she's a
wants so
telepath.
badly for her spy dad not to get rid of her. She
Uh-huh.
thinks that if she tells him everything that she is about herself, that he, one, won't get rid of her, but two, will be able to save the world. So she's like,
Yeah.
I like peanuts. I like something. I like that. I like peanuts. I'm like, what?
So cute.
It was
I love
adorable.
Arya. She's the best.
Okay, yeah. So if unless you have anything else to say, I think I'm gonna wrap this up.
Nope.
All right, guys. So, yeah. Goodbye, Eri is a fantastic book. Now, I would not recommend it to everyone because of the way it is, especially if you're not going to read it correctly. Like, I did not read it correctly. This is something that if you really do want to read, you have to sit down and read it all, and by the end of it, you still might not like it. This isn't a story that I think would be for everyone, but I wish everyone would read it. It is an interesting, very great story, and I really did enjoy it. Again, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Fantastic book. Fantastic art from the author. I still want to yell "Rule of Thirds" at him, but it was still a really interesting
I roll
story.
where the fuck I want.
Yep. With that, sorry, I had to I had like a hiccup or something. With that said, I want to thank Sour Krause for being here. Of course, you can find me on Austin's channel. You can find me on Sour channel when we get him streaming again, and Ninjoy243. Sour, go ahead and take it away and tell people where they can find you at.
You can find my own channel, Sarah Krause, which I haven't uploaded to in 2 months, so I need to get back into that. Whenever.
Yeah, you do. You do.
I
Dude, you
do.
still have to do a review for Guardians of the Galaxy.
I know. And also the rest of Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2. Also need to start
Yes,
back
you
up
do.
Anime News of the Week and all that.
Yep.
But you can also find me on Twitter at Sarah Krause. Or not Sarah Krause. At Waviest Leaf. Instagram at Sarah Krause06. Discord, Sarah Krause number 4433. And I am also on Dylan's Little Hobbies channel, the Austiners channel, and Ninja243's channel, who we need to get him to read this series. I know he will like it. It's literally about film.
Do.
It's literally about his own passion.
Yes, we do.
He will like it.
He needs to read the series. It's actually really good.
He needs to read
We'll get you to read it sometime.
all of Fujimoto's works.
Ninjoy243.
Because Fujimoto is a huge film buff
you,
like
bro.
him.
Yeah.
And he's Fujimoto. I don't know if you've seen this video, but there was a video about Fujimoto. It's like not even that long, like 13 seconds maybe. About Fujimoto trying to like fucking fly. It is hilarious. I don't know if you see. Yeah, Fujimoto tries to levitate.
I have not seen it, but you should send me that.
I will. It's so funny.
That's funny. Well, with that said, guys, thank you guys for watching, and we are out. Bye.
See ya.
Hello, guys, and welcome back. Welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies.
Subscribe to